Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Relevant, and today I got what I'm hoping to be a little bit of a new series where I just play ranked and I'm climbing, and I thought might as well just start recording this and putting it out there. Maybe I learn something, maybe I can teach something, either way. So I'm just going to try and get as high rank as I can. I think the number one rank in this game in the bounty system is pirate captain. You can't really see it's down there, but right now we're at this Shichibukai rank number 72. I recorded a couple games. We can go through them, but let me know if you guys like things like this. I'm gonna be starting with Bonney, but most likely just gonna start playing a bunch of different stuff. But gonna be hopefully putting a couple more videos out just of some ranked games. So that's the idea. And like I said, uh, this video is just gonna be Bonney. This is my list. It's a list that you've probably seen 100 times. Bonney is just one of those decks that the deck list is not really that unique. There's maybe like one, maximum two cards that are different in the Eustace Kid version. So nothing too special about this deck. If you want like a guide on Bonney, there's like a you can just YouTube Bonney Masterclass. Uh, there's like a 25-minute video, and you can watch that and they go over it. But pretty very standard list, and we can just get into the games. So when I started, I was probably around like 650 million bounty. So we'll just see what happens there. So I have three games for you guys. The first one is against Lucci. So let me try and speed this guy up, actually. Speed 1.5. Uh, so against Lucci, the game plan is you are hard mulliganing for Basil Hawkins, which I do have in my hand, luckily. And the idea is you just want to go towards their face as much as possible when you have Basil Hawkins on the board, because it's pretty difficult for them to remove it unless they haven't the forecast event, which we'll see I think in another video. But as you can see, I'm just going towards his life. I don't even need to keep a Dawn up. That spandom is not really a threat to attack my life. He plays a Sabo. Luckily, he has no stage, so if there's no stage, you're in a pretty okay spot. And the game plan, like I said, you just want to play out Hawkins. It's okay if you don't have leader ability up. It's not a big deal. You want to get that card off onto the board as fast as possible, and then sort of go from there. So you'll probably see I'm taking a good amount of my life because it's not that big of a deal if I take life, especially since I have 3 copies of Kid, and I do see I have the 2-cost Rosinante. So I'll pause it for a second because while I'm talking about this, so maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but the idea is you want to take, if you have 8-drop Kid and Rosinante, you're pretty okay taking life. And the reason for that is because that is a pretty tough combo for them to kill in the late game, because they first need to get rid of that Rosinante before they kill the Kid. We'll get into that in the details later, but because I have Hawkins on the board, he's pretty difficult to get rid of. Funny enough, right now is probably one of the only times that Basil Hawkins can be removed easily in this matchup. When he has 4 Dawn up, and he can swing with everything. So Finger Pistol is the one card that people are teching into Luchi, specifically for the Bonney matchup, because before there was no way, realistically, for them to get rid of Hawkins. But with Finger Pistol, you can do it. You swing with all your units, and then you play Finger Pistol, and Hawkins is gone. Right now, this is what I thought was going to happen, and if that did happen, I'd be in a pretty bad spot, because my unit would be gone, and I have a little bit of an awkward play the next coming turn. But luckily, if I keep going, I don't think he ends up playing it this game. I don't think he has it this game. which is really good for me. I kind of dodged the bullet. I actually don't even remember what happens here. But he swings. I'm going to block because I think it's going to be removed because he has 4 Dawn up. And luckily for me, he puts 3 Dawn on Spandam and attacks, which means he is completely bricked in his hand. So that is really, really good for me. I think I counter this because if he swings 7 at me, I'm not going to counter that. Yeah, there we go. So, and I top draw like a maniac into another Basil Hawkins, which makes my life a lot easier because if I didn't have that, I would probably have to play something like either Cavendish into Bonney and freeze the Sabo, which honestly is not a bad play, but just me top decking into a Basil Hawkins 6-drop, it just makes my decision a lot easier for me. So as you'll see, I'm always swinging at life. There's just no point in me swinging into that Sabo, uh, especially with my Basil Hawkins, and you almost always do want to swing with Basil Hawkins. There are some situations if you're like in threat of losing the game, you don't. But for the most part, he's a 7k attack. You want to threaten the Lucci as much as possible, so when he does play big bodies, um, they're pretty taxing on him. So I do swing with the Basil. I do swing with Bonney 6, get a 2k out of his hand. Let's see. Wow, he did not counter that, so that is good for me. Play another Basil with a Dawn up, and you are in a really good spot. Normally, Isho actually beats the shit out of this deck. Um, but the reason it's not bad right now is because I have Rosinante. And I said I'd get to that, and we will. So he's just going to start swinging. I'm going to rest the Sabo and just take the block for free. And reset back to my turn. Let's get to my turn so we can talk about it. So, normally Isho wrecks Bonney. If your opponent sees Isho, Bonney is in actually a really, really bad spot. But in this scenario, it's not that bad. The reason is I have 2 Basil Hawkins, which are pretty much indestructible from Isho outside of an event, but if they use an event on it, it's not the worst thing in the world. And more importantly than that, if I play 8-drop Kid with a Rosinante, it becomes really awkward for him to get rid of that kid because Rosinante protects the 8-drop, and there's no if he can't simply Lucci them, right? Because if he kills multiple things on the board, Rosinante, the 2-drop, it absorbs both of those kills. So he has to individually get rid of my Rosinante first, and then remove my kid. And that actually is really awkward for him to do so, even with a big hand. So right now I am like in a really good spot, even though he played Isho, which just usually wrecks my deck. So like I said, we just keep going for face, and we play the 8-drop with the Rosinante, and now he is in an awful, awful spot. He's in a really bad spot in this game. He only has 1 life, he has 1 blocker. He's, again, like I said, he can't remove anything on my board. There's nothing that can be removed on my board outside of the 2-drop Rosinante. So I'm in a really good spot here. Let's see, he's just going to lower my Eustace Kid by 1. I'm just going to rest the Isho so he can't swing into it. And let's see what he actually does here. If I'm not mistaken, I think he plays a Gecko. 8-drop Gecko. Yeah, that's what he does, so I think he's just going to go ahead and go for that combo, playing Rebecca into God knows what. I don't even remember. Oh, we can speed this guy up a little bit. Helmeppo. And that's it. And he doesn't really do anything, and then I just play Hody Jones and win the game. So, if we go back here, again, if we go back a little more before he even plays, there's not a lot of options here. Because these 3 units, my Basil, my other Basil, my 8-drop Kid, they cannot be removed. Basil, obviously for normal reasons, and then 8-drop Kid because of Rosinante protects it. So he is just put in a really bad spot. This is like a nasty, nasty board against Lucci. he cannot do anything against this board pretty much. He plays a blocker, and then I saved a Hody Jones. I drew another one, so it's not a big deal anyway. But you just play Hody, go sevens, and win the game. Let's skip this. And I'm pretty sure this guy's hand was bricked out of his mind. Yeah, crazy bricked. But that is a game that I think was pretty dominated by the Bonney. So, not too bad of a game. We'll run through another Lucci. I've played against this guy so many times in Vinal. He's a really good player. Yeah, my boy, because I've run into him so much. So for Mulligan, I see Basil Hawkins. I'm just not going to bother mulliganing him away. Pass round 2, nothing to do. And let's see if I can speed this up, maybe? Yeah, I can. So I'll speed this guy up because he's just going to be swinging into me. I'm going to take it. And luckily I top draw the Uroj because that would have made my play really awkward. But I'm able to swing 5, play the Uroj, get a life back. Or get a Dawn back, rather. And next turn, I'm just going to drop a Basil Hawkins regardless. So here, something really interesting. So normally when Luchi minuses 1 your unit, and it's a blocker, you probably just want to block with it, because it's going to be removed and you're not going to get any value from it. Here, he minuses my Urog, and I'm thinking, like, he can't really do anything to kill this, right? Maybe he could play like a 1 cost event to lower its cost and play a Brook. Lucci doesn't get the job done. There's not pretty much anything that kills this, right? The 5 cost CP9 Kaku, I think that's the card. The 5 cost CP9 that removes a 3 cost. Obviously he doesn't have 5, so I thought, yeah, I'm pretty safe. He can't really remove this card. Little did I know, he plays a freaking air door into a Kaku and kills my unit, and he gives me a little smiley face, and he got my as good, I'm not even gonna lie. So, yeah. 6 Dawn play, if you have Basil, it's the simplest play in the world. Just swing and play Basil, pass. And now I think we're going to see what Lucci started teching in. Basil is the bane of Lucci's existence, and he is just going to swing. I have no Hody Jones, so I think I'm pretty okay taking this life. Let's see what I do. Yeah, I do take it. I don't have a Hody Jones, so I do take that life. I'm just gonna block this. And as soon as he swings with the Spandam, I know what's coming. Right? Because he's going to rest all his characters, and he has 4 Dawn up. What does that mean? That means he's about to play a Finger Pistol and kill my Basil Hawkins. So when he does that, I see the writing on the wall. I say, oh man, and I have nothing to rest. Everything's rested, so Basil dies. Normally that is really, really bad. Like, I am in a really bad spot right now. Looking at my hand, I don't really have another Basil. I'm just put in a really nasty spot. He has 4 life still, and he has 6 cards in his hand. This is looking pretty doomed for me. So I decide, I'm like, alright, let's just start trying to hit his life. We'll play an Uroj, hope for the best. I pretty much have given up at this point. So my game plan is just take as much life as possible and play out my Eustace Kid and try and stall as much as I can. When he does this, then I think the game is really over because he just kills my blocker too. Of course, I draw a 2k unit. Not that helpful, but pretty helpful in hindsight because this kid into Rosinante combo is about to save my game. This deck is disgusting. He is absolutely correct about that. Lucci is a pretty disgusting deck, but Bonney is also pretty gross. So go ahead, and I am still just I'm thinking I'm done because all he has to do is just kill this Rosinante, swing really, really high on this kid. The only thing is I have a ton of 2k counter in my hand. but he still has 4 life. So he plays a Sabo, which actually does it, which saves me because that's pretty damn inefficient. And I can just counter out of the 8k. So now, what are the options? The options are there's not that much, but I'm just trying to think what can I do here. I can play Zoro, but if I play Zoro, I just get smacked because I don't even have a Dawn up. So I legit have to pray for the best. I'm pretty sure I play my blockers here. Uh, let's see. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm count 4 and then I count 2. So I'm trying to get his life as much as I can. Uh, I suck at math, so I'm counting this like 10 different times. Oh, that's what I was doing. I was debating on playing a baby 5 and searching for a 2k counter, but knowing my luck, there's no way that ever works out for me. There's no way that's ever a good play, I feel. Um, because I do have a solid amount of counter in my hand. So I'm just going to go 8 and swing at his face. He gets rid of 2 2Ks. I play 2 blockers. Again, the Rosinante is the only reason I have any chance in this game right now. Because he can't simply just straight up get rid of that kid. If he could just straight up get rid of that kid, I would have lost. But because he has to get rid of Rosinante first, and then get rid of Kid, things get really awkward. So he's just going to Tempest kick me a bunch. I think he's digging for something. He plays Sabo. Develops a blocker. So he's going to sling 10. I'm going to counter out of that. And when he does that, I think this might just be winnable. This might be winnable. He does have a blocker, yes. But the only thing I can do now is play Zoro and hope for the best. Because I can't end this game. I can't go for his board. Can I end the game? I don't think so, right? There's no way. If I swing 9, he takes. I swing 9 again. Maybe he takes. Then I swing 10. And then he blocks. Yeah, no, never mind. I can't win this game right now. There's no way. Because he has a blocker. The only way I win is if somehow I don't lose next turn. And then I can finish the game with Zoro. So looking at my hand, I have nothing else to play. I have nothing else to do. I can't go for board. That makes no sense in my opinion. Potential, maybe going for board is right. Who knows? But I actually don't think it is because I have a solid amount of counter. I have 2 blockers. I have the Rosinante, so he can't just straight up kill it. So I say, alright, forget it. Let's just swing 5, give him a little nut tap. And swing 9, play the Zoro, and play Uroj. This is why Uroj is so freaking broken in this deck, because he allows you to play on curve. Yeah, I'm clenched. My ass is clenched hard as hell in this game. He's just going to try and do something here. Oh, he's just attacking to minus a cost. I'm just going to rest his Moria. That's a big swing off. Spandine is going to go ahead and get rid of my blockers. So when this happens, he's in a pretty precarious situation, right? I think it's possible that he can... It's still very possible he wins this, but I think what Vinyl does is misallocates Dawn, because he has 3 swings. I have 5k in counter. So the one way he wins this, the only way he wins this, is he just has to kill my kid here and now. If he doesn't, I actually, now that I think about it, I just don't think I lose in any way. Because I have 5k in counter. Yeah, I just don't think there's any way I lose. I just have the counter in my hand. And he doesn't because he played a Spandine. And that's why Rosinante is just so freaking important in this matchup. So he swings... Yeah, I just had the counter. And that's so tough. Yeah, the man. It says it right there. That's just a tough way to lose the game. and yeah, and he just concedes. So overall, this game was in a pretty bad spot for me, but the only reason that I was able to win is because of two cost Rosinante. Two cost Rosinante into 8 cost Kid is such a strong combination, and it it's so hard. It's not hard. It's very very inefficient for Lucci to deal with. So that is 2 games of Lucci. I had 1 game of Law. I have played against this deck God knows how many times, so many times, and I personally do the starving strategy. You just don't attack into its life, look for Hody Jones, attack into its board. Based off that, this hand is amazing. I don't even mulligan. I love this hand, but I make a gigantic misplay which loses the game, which is why I thought it was a good idea to actually go through this game together. A little bit of a retrospective. So I I just search with the Bonney because if I don't search with it, it's going to get bottom decked. Might as well just search with it. So he is just going to swing in it. And let's see if he plays something out. I'm actually not sure. Okay, he plays a Sanji. Sanji is a really good card in Law, I think, as a 2 of. Because there are a couple of decks that are just trying to starve you, right? Enel is trying to starve you. Bonney is trying to starve you. I don't Lucci probably no, Lucci goes for your life. But nonetheless, Sanji lets you take a life from you when you're being starved, and then you can swing 7. So he is a really good card in this matchup because he just completely counters what I'm trying to do right now. And obviously you have the Gordon, who is just threatening to get rid of anything I play. So I'm debating on swinging 8, but again, I want to starve, so I don't want to do that. I play the Bart because I'm thinking maybe he just uses the Gordon on Bart, and if there's anything, I'd rather him use a Gordon on my 3-cost blocker instead of my other cards. So hopefully I'm hoping he ends up doing that. So he does play the Kid. Yep, that's what he's doing. He's going to bottom deck it, play his Shachi Penguin. I am going to rest his Sanji just so he can't take a life and swing at me. This is where I think I lost the game in this exact situation. So I have 6 Dawn up. What is the best play? I have Cavendish. I have Basil. I have Urog. Urog definitely probably isn't the right play. Um, the 2 options realistically are Basil and it is Cavendish. Can I can I draw on this or no? I guess not. Um, so let's try and see the best way that I can do this. So there's 2 options. I play Basil Hawkins, 6 Dawn. My Dawn is gone, and then he has 1, 2, 3, 4 swings. 4 whole swings on board, and maybe I block 1. The thing is, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has 7 Dawn next turn. He has quite a bit of Dawn. So I actually think that's not the best move. I'm thinking maybe I should have played Cavendish, and I was debating it. You can see I highlighted Cavendish here. I was thinking if I play Cavendish, I have 3 Dawn to work with, and then I can swing 7 at the Sanji. Maybe he blocks and give me a 2k, but that leaves me with 1 Dawn up. The reason I didn't do that is because all it would take is for him to have 1 Gordon to get rid of my Cavendish. Let's say he does that. So he would be at 4, 5, 6, 7 Dawn. He'd be at 7 Dawn. Man, I really wish I can. Maybe I can. Yeah, so he would be at 7 Dawn with 3 cards. 3 cards. And then he would draw, so he'd be at 4. He plays a Gordon. We're down to 3. 3 cards in hand. 6 Dawn. Let's just put Dawn for exclamation point. So if he plays a Gordon, He minuses, gets rid of my Cavendish. He's gonna gain a Dawn. No, sorry, because he has to minus 3. So he has 3 cards in hand after Gordon. Maybe he swings. Maybe he swings, uses 2 Dawn, right? To swing. So he'd be at 4. 4 Dawn remaining. And then I can rest and one of the blockers or one of the attackers. He plays a random card from his hand, any card. Worst case scenario, it would be Kid Killer. And then he has another swing at me. But the thing is, he only has like 2 cards in his hand now. And now he's at 4 Dawn. I suppose Kid would give him another Dawn back. So he's at 5 total. If that's the situation, let's say he swung with 1 unit, so he has 3 attacking units in that situation. And worst case scenario, he has Kid Killer. So 4 attackers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have nothing on my life. If that's the situation, it's still looking pretty bad for me. I think overall it's just actually a really tough spot. But that, if you think about it, that is like the worst situation that could happen. If he has Gordon and if he has Kid Killer out of 3 cards. So I think you play the odds. You still play Cavendish. Pray to God he doesn't have Gordon and Kid Killer. And sort of go from there. Because next turn you do have Hody, which can protect you. What I end up doing is I swing. Yeah, he's just gonna block for free. I play Basil. I have no Dawn up to use ability, and he's just about to run me down right now. If I skip, I think he just swung 5. I took that one, and we're just gonna keep going. So he swings 7. I'm in a pretty weird spot because that Sanji's about to turn into a 7 Dawn as well. So I take it. Feels really bad. Maybe I should have countered. Probably should have countered. So he becomes a 7. I'm gonna block, counter. And he's going to minus and get another Dawn and swing 7. Yeah, see, he did have Kid Killer. So if he didn't have Gordon, if he had Gordon, it would be the same thing. I'd be in a really bad spot. I think this is just one of those things where he just had a lot of stuff that he needed. But I still think that is a misplay because of the Dawn management. If I did the Cavendish play, he would only have 2 cards in his hand. Right now he has 4. And I think you play Cavendish specifically for that situation back here. Because you're in a pretty bad spot just so you save a swing, right? So either if he has Gordon and Kid Killer, he did have a Kid and Killer. If he had a Gordon as well, the Cavendish is a really bad play because you probably lose instantaneously, but because of the Basil, you're not really winning either. Maybe I could have countered a little better. Probably should have countered a little more aggressively. Um, that is the only other thing. So if I do play Basil here, which I do, excuse me, when he swings 5, I absolutely should not be taking that life. I should just counter out something. Because then that gives me, lets me play Hody Jones, and it gives me a little bit of leeway with my life as well. So there's 2 situations. I'm not sure what is correct. What I think is yapping this whole time, I think the actual correct thing was to play Basil and then counter, which I didn't do. So eventually we're just gonna play this game out. All he's gonna do is just run me down, right? He's just gonna run me down completely. We've been here. I have nothing really to do. I can't even play Kid. I can play Cavendish into Urog. Cavendish into Urog is actually not that bad of a play at all, and I actually think that is what I was supposed to do. But I got a little tilted after that play, and I'm watching this for the first time with you guys. Uh, Hody Jones is a pretty big death sentence because I lose a whole ass life, and if he counters off this, which is completely possible for him to do so, which he does do, even if I swung at a 5k, I think he gives me two 2ks. Yeah, two 2ks. It wouldn't have mattered. So should have played Cavendish into Uroj, left a Dawn up, go from there. But I played Hody Jones. A combination of me being a little tilted by my misplay initially and just overall. But yeah, we'll let this guy play out. But overall, this is like a masterclass on how to not play this matchup. Uh, if you have Hody Jones, normally you are in such a good spot. Yeah, like I just take this. Like I lost the game here. Um, and if you look at his hand, he did not have a Gordon. So if I played Cavendish, I would have been completely fine. But there's no way for me to know that. What I could have done is played Basil and countered a little more aggressively, so that maybe when I play Hody Jones, I don't instantly lose the next turn. Or even better yet, I play Cavendish into Uroj. That is definitely the better play for me to do. Overall, still not that bad. You know, in the grand scheme of things, I won 2 games, I lost one, and I gained quite a bit of bounty. I end up with like 724, number 71 rank. So that is it for this rundown. Let me know if you guys want me to do more of these style videos. If there's a specific deck you want me to play, I definitely will be playing a bunch of different things just for fun, but starting off with Bonney, since that is my bread and butter. Yeah, if you guys like that, please leave a comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys want to see. If you like this type of video, if you want to see more, let me know either way. In the meantime, I'll see you around. Thanks.